Hey, yo, what's decent, yo? I got a crazy battle for you this time around. I'm sticking around with my MONFERNO, which is utterly bananas. So, let's lead out with my Barriere as my opponent leads out with Mega Lopunny. I'm going to switch out because he does have the fake out, and staying in would just insinuate that I have the Choice Scarf, which I am carrying, but I don't want to reveal that like turn 2. Oh, why am I staying with the Barriere? Especially if Lopunny gets high jump kick and or ice punch. So I do have the Landorus, which happens to have the Yache Berry, so I was hoping that he would stay in and go for a ice punch, only to get knocked off with the surprise with my Yache Berry held item, and then afterwards I would retaliate back with the Earthquake. Not that Earthquake would kill, but that'll be some significant damage. I guess putting it in range where Scissors Bullet Punch would have been able to finish off the Mega Lopunny. So in comes his Azumarill to take the Earthquake, and then afterwards to stay in on a Rotom and take the burn, and he's continuing to stay in. So I mean, I'm just saying it like that because it's like completely crushing the world to me. I mean, especially since I have like, I don't have a Vileplume actually. I have Landorus, I have MONFERNO, you know, I have a whole bunch of stuff that he could actually benefit from keeping his Azumarill around, you know. I mean, I don't know. So in comes Landorus, which I was hoping to see because a lot of players make that same mistake, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go for the Brave Bird. Hopefully I'll be able to finish off. Maybe this is a Choice Scarf variant, but it's not, I guess. I don't think so. So he goes for the knockoff because a Choice Scarf variant, 252 and 252 in attack and speed, coming from a Landorus, the Brave Bird would have been actually been able to finish it off, but that's not the case as he goes for a knockoff and a secondary one at that. I kind of wanted to switch, but I'll just stay in and just have something else. I was predicting him to actually switch out because I don't have Hazard up, and I think that he sees that. I mean, no, then again, I do have Nidoqueen. He hasn't seen what kind of set that is yet, so maybe he thought that that does happen to have the Rocks, but I'm not Rocks at all. I'm just a Choice Scarf variant. I'm Choice Scarf Nidoqueen. So, because you don't really see that. You see Choice Scarf Nidoking, so when you see Nidoqueen, you automatically assume like the defensive type. I mean, that's what I assume when I see other players use it. So anyway, in comes this Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn's going to set up the Stealth Frost. I'm just going to switch out into MONFERNO. Not to go for the Defog yet, because it will just be pointless for me to go for the Defog, especially after him revealing that he has the Leech Seed. Switching into MONFERNO was kind of risky too, because he could have actually like predicted my switch out, and it went for like a Toxic or something, assuming that he does have Toxic and or Thunderwave. So in comes his Raikou, which is great. I'm actually able to get some residual damage off from that thing. He switches into that. I think kind of saying that he does have the substitute, so he could be like sub CM, but I don't see any leftovers, so he must be another variant. We're about to find out right now. Maybe he's like Choice Locked or something like that. So he goes for the Hidden Power. Happens to be Ice, I'm going to deduce, and he shows me that he is indeed Life Orb. So that's great too. I'm just going to go ahead and Roost up after him showing me that he has the Volt Switch, which also tells me that he's not carrying the substitute. So that's great. I'm actually able to get a lot of residual damage off on that Raikou. I mean, during the following turns that it might come in later on and inflict a lot of damage onto me. So anyway, in comes his Ferrothorn again. He's going to go for the Leech Seed, and then afterwards I do want to Defog again. I mean, actually I did, but I just like was a little bit worried about like switching up because he could have just went for another Stealth Frost. He could have just went for a Leech Seed and happened to miss, which is great. So now he switches out into his Raikou, which is awesome. I predicted that because Raikou is the one that is burned, so that actually prevents his other Pokemon from getting a burn status. That was actually pretty smart. So I am gonna go for the Slack Off just to gauge to see how much a T-Ball coming from Raikou will be able to do onto my MONFERNO, and it doesn't do like enough. It does over half, but it's not enough because I do happen to have the Slack Off. So I go into Scissor, and Scissor is going to take the T-Ball. I half expected him to switch up his moves because I do have both Nidoqueen as well as Landorus. But then again, I don't want to show him that I am a Choice Scarf Nidoqueen. So switching into Nidoqueen would kind of insinuate that, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that yet. I'm just going to go into Scissor and then go for the U-turn, assuming that he's going to want to switch out his Raikou to save it for a little bit later on, to maybe get off like maybe one crucial attack before claiming good game, whatever his win condition may be. I don't exactly see it at the moment, but it may come a little bit more apparent to me as we continue the battle. So he sets up Rocks now after my Scissor's gone, so I can't go ahead and Defog it, which is alright. You know, I switched into Landorus because, I mean, I wanted to switch into MONFERNO, but I didn't want him to Leech Seed that specifically because I think I need MONFERNO for his Mega Lopunny specifically. That and something else I think I'm kind of forgetting about. Oh, his Bisharp right now. His Bisharp as well, because I'm very worried about that. That's why I'm like half cautious about switching into Landorus because it could have done the same thing that happened to my Breviary, which I would just happen to intimidate his Bishop and then give it a +1 for no good reason at all. So now I get some residual damage off on the Ferrothorn as well as some direct damage with the Earthquake, and he goes for the Protect, which is great. So now I can go for the Encore because I did show him Will-O-Wisp, which does tell him that I'm not packing an attacking move, a sufficient one, and he's right on that. So I'm just going to go for the Encore and then afterwards go for the Will-O-Wisp, expecting to switch out. He does have this Bisharp as well as the Mega Lopunny in the background, so I'm going to have to worry about that, especially with the Bisharp being able to potentially knock off my Evalite. I don't want that happening, so I'm just going to go for the Slack Off. And afterwards, his Ferrothorn dies, and that is a perfect opportunity for him to bring in his Mega Lopunny. I don't want him to fake out and then afterwards just come back in, or maybe... I mean, I could take a fake out. See, the thing is, I could take a fake out and a high jump kick. I can't take a fake out, a high jump kick, and then a secondary high jump kick. So that's kind of what I want to do. I kind of want to burn him to a point where I just take a high jump kick and then afterwards I burn him and then I take a secondary one and then recover with the Slack Off. That's what I want to do. I want to keep MONFERNO around. So I show him Landorus with the Intimidate again. He's going to go for a high jump kick, and the high jump kick is going to be enough to lock out my Landorus. Now, since Mega Lopunny has been on the field for quite a significant amount of turns, that means that he can't go for the fake out, and what I was saying a little bit earlier on will come into play, where he will go for the high jump kick, hypothetically speaking, if he decides to stay in with the Mega Lopunny, and then afterwards I'll live a secondary one, and then afterwards I'll be able to go for a side off and be able to like completely sponge that thing. And maybe I'll just like encore it while he predicting him to go for the power up punch. So now in comes the Bisharp. He goes for a +1, and I go for the Hydro Pump after him showing me the Slack Off, which in my opinion he should have just actually went for the knockoff. I guess he assumed that my Rotom was faster, but you know, I mean, that was actually a good play now that I think about it. That was actually the best play that he could have done, because if my Rotom was faster and I just went for the Hydro Pump, that just means that he takes unnecessary damage. It could have potentially killed him too. So now, because his Bisharp is burned, I am going to be able to survive that with my Nidoqueen and go for a Choice Scarf Earth Power. Now, let's say that MONFERNO doesn't even work out. My Nidoqueen is packing Focus Blast. Yes, I do have Earth Power and Focus Blast, so provided that Focus Blast does hit Mega Lopunny, I still win. So now he goes for the Fake Out as well as a High Jump Kick. You see what I was saying a little bit earlier on before? So now I'm at 16 and I get off the burn, which is alright. I just need it at a point where I can I can take it out with the Focus Blast, but now that's not even relevant because he decides to go for the Power Punch. I live with 2 HP, and then that is going to be quite impossible to now knock out my MONFERNO. So what I'm going to decide to do is go for the Encore, predicting him to go for the Power Punch, which would give me leverage on recovering a lot of HP. But he ends up showing me Return, which Return, even at the +1, doesn't do anything to MONFERNO. That is crazy, and I could just go for the Rock Tomb actually, and just to ensure that my Nidoqueen, even though it's Choice Scarf, will be able to outspeed Mega Lopunny. I can't remember Mega Lopunny's speed off the top of my head, so I'm not exactly sure if my Nidoqueen will be able to outspeed. I mean, call me kind of new to Pokemon again, but it's like I'm new, but I know what I'm doing, but at the same time, I don't know stats like I used to at the top of my head. So he shows me High Jump Kick again, and that is not going to be enough. It is not going to cut it. Ladies and gentlemen, you just witnessed a MONFERNO stalling out a Mega Lopunny. That is bananas. I definitely did have a lot of fun. If you guys enjoyed this video, do me a favor and drop a like. If you guys want to see more content like this in the future, please subscribe to me. It is awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Peace. What you doing?